What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Commander video. This time I want to talk about 10 dirt cheap mythics that are decent pickups right now if you're looking to get some good value cards. I don't want you to take that to mean that these are investments. They're just cards that are really cheap right now if you're looking to pick up cards, if you're looking to buy low. All of these are worth looking into. First one I have here is Aphrodites Memorial. This is a card I know a lot of people are not big on because it doesn't do everything that Avacyn herself did, but it's a legendary artifact that you can search up with Sisay. So if you can search up any sort of way of protecting your creatures using a Sisay, your deck is going to be able to handle a lot of problems. And this is so cheap right now. It just came out. It's only 87 cents. It's not even in the pre-cons, which is crazy, but under $1 for this awesome legendary artifact. Next card we have here is Cavalier of Gales. Only $1.83 for this mythic from M20. There are some more powerful Cavaliers, like there's the Black Cavalier. I like this one because you essentially have Brainstorm on an ETB, which, it's not a big deal. You get it on a bigger creature. Reason why Brainstorm's great is because it's kind of like a poor man's Ancestral Recall. But if you're looking for an overall solid value, good stuff creature for blue, Cavalier of Gales might be worth picking up. It's a flying elemental knight, gives you that synergy if you want to play more tribal decks, and when it dies you get to shuffle it back into your deck and then scry too, so you get some value here if you're looking to take advantage of things like scrying, but again, not overwhelming. I'm not expecting these to be investment cards, just cards that if you want to buy low, you might want to look into them. The next one we have, and this is from Commander 2020, so we have Nikara, Lair, Scavenger. Not going to be talking about Yannick because I don't really think Yannick has the same kind of potential and value, but you have a consistent way of drawing cards with a +1/+1 counter strategy, or really any strategy where you have counters, because whenever another creature you control leaves the battlefield, if it had any counters on it, you get to draw a card and lose a life. There aren't too many cards like this, so whenever you get an ability that just lets you draw cards at will, if you have something like a Sacrifice Outlet, maybe you're playing Grave of Spores, anything like that, Nikara can be pretty strong, and only for 62 cents. That's a theme for the Commander decks in 2020. Very low in cost, but decent cards all around. The next one here we have Girana, the Last Blood Chief from Zendikar Rising. This mythic is only $1.55, and the reason why I'm bringing it up, I normally wouldn't. I don't think she's super strong, but with the new vampire set coming out here, you can expect to see a lot more vampire synergies. If you're looking to buy a certain vampire, now would be the time to do it. Again, not expecting any of these to spike up in price, but you have a great way of reanimating a creature. If it's not already a vampire, it becomes a vampire in addition to its other types. Also good for +1/+1 counter strategies again. The next card we have here is the Cauldron of Eternity from Throne of Eldraine. Only 80 cents. 80 cents for this, and I think it's pretty underrated. Costs 2 less to cast for each creature card in your graveyard, meaning that if you're playing the right kind of deck, most of the time this is only going to cost you 2 black mana. Whenever a creature you control dies, you put it on the bottom of its owner's library. Worth pointing out that this does synergize with Grenzo Dungeon Warden. You can pay 3 mana, tap it, pay 2 life to return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, only doing that at sorcery speed, but still, only having that little bit of a cost to bring back a creature just by tapping this and paying a couple life and a few mana, having that in Commander is surprisingly strong. And I could talk all day about the future potential for bottom deck strategies, but I think just for what it does right now, with nothing else, 80 cents is a steal. And then we have Battle Mammoth from Kaldheim. Whenever a permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you get to draw a card. Has Foretell, but that's not really why it's here. You have sort of a line of protection here for your creatures. I don't know exactly where it would fit, but only 93 cents. It's not a bad card to have. And really here because it's not just spells, it's abilities. There are a ton of abilities from creature ETBs, a ton of abilities from artifacts, enchantments that target your permanents. It could target any permanent, so you get to draw a card in exchange for that. I think that's a pretty good deal. These cards don't typically see play in Commander because they're situational, depends on what your opponents are playing, but I still think for the value, can't really beat it. And then we have Multani Yavimaya's Avatar. This was reprinted in the Zendikar Rising Commander deck. Overall, a strong creature, only $1.45, but if you're playing any kind of land strategy, this is a great supplemental card. Can take the attention away from your other threats because you can deal a lot of damage with Trample. You have Reach here too, so you get to block flyers. Just a great line of defense creature that is resilient too because you get to bring it back to your hand. Also get to replay lands pretty easily if you have landfall triggers. The next card here, and this one kind of surprised me because even though it was reprinted in one of the more recent Commander products, Master Biomancer has been a powerful card in Commander. Only 60 cents, Each other creature you control enters the battlefield with a number of additional +1/+1 counters on it equal to its power. Also becomes a mutant, but that's not really what matters here. There is insane +1/+1 counter support, insane combo potential. I haven't talked about this in my recent Store Vault Commander deck. You can make his power and toughness 7/7, and then have all your other creatures enter with 7 +1/+1 counters. It just makes playing +1/+1 counter decks that much easier. So this guy being under $1, very good mythic, very strong one that's worth picking up right now. Then next we have Narset of the Ancient Way from Ikoria. Now I've said this before, and while I don't think Planeswalkers are as inspired when it comes to card design compared to some other cards in recent sets, you're still going to find power, you're still going to find some loyalty abilities that do synergize with what you want to do. And while I don't think any of these abilities are over the top, for only $1.18, you do have good abilities, like all of these are good. The +1, you gain 2 life and add a mana. -2, you get to draw a card, you get to pitch a card if you want to and then deal damage. And the ult is probably the reason why I think Narset of the Ancient Way is worth looking into, because it's such an easy ult to get to. You only have to wait a couple turns, just keep plussing her, and then you'll get to that -6 in no time. You get an emblem with, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, deals 2 damage to any target. Not an overwhelming emblem, but you'd be surprised how quickly that adds up. I think Planeswalkers are strongest in Commander when they're not the focal point, when they're not a massive threat. For a long time, they've just been massive threats, so you don't really get to their ults reliably. And the last card here is Cyrus the Writhing Storm from the Ikoria Commander 2020 Precon deck. Very strong commander options, very good synergies, and it's not like these are anchored to any specific theme. They're flexible enough to where I think if you go through Commander 2020 again, you're going to find some powerful commanders that are going to age really well. Only 93 cents. Cyrus the Writhing Storm kind of gives you a little bit of the wheel and deal strategy that we had before with something like Nikara, but offers you a bit more flexibility, so it's not just about dealing as much damage as possible to your opponents. You also get to benefit off of card draw, you also get to benefit off of tokens. In itself, being a pretty good card draw engine means that it's going to actually help you win games more often than not. Nikara before was just a huge target that couldn't really fight back. So not really something you can throw in a lot of decks, but as a commander option, again, I think it's going to age really well. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think about these 10 dirt cheap mythics. Mythics you can pick up now. Not really for investment purposes, of course, but just to buy low on some of these mythics, fit some actual power into your decks. If you enjoyed the video, please do subscribe, like, comment, share, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. Void here signing off. I will see you all next time.